Elon Musk just posted this Optimus update, and it looks like it's less constipated now compared to before. Yeah, I think the health of Optimus has certainly improved. Now, a few things to point out here. There are X's on the floor, and the robot seems to somewhat follow these, although not exactly. Another thing is, why does the video look like it was shot on a phone from 2004? My phone from 2007 would have produced a much higher quality video. You can see that in the very beginning of the video, it is following something on the floor, but later it stops. You can see the X there, which it is definitely not following, but the resolution is so low that maybe even if there was something marked on the floor, maybe it wouldn't be too obvious with this low resolution video. Also, is there anything that's holding the Optimus? I don't think there is anything, but even if there is a wire here, I don't think it would make much of a difference because it doesn't seem like the robot is walking because he's being hung. It seems like it's holding its posture and its balance well. So even if there was something, it wouldn't matter. I watched the first few minutes of Dr. Know-It-All talking about this. He's impressed about the bot's feet and how more agile they are. Now, we don't know if anyone is controlling the robot or if it's doing all of this autonomously. I don't think that matters too much. I think what matters here is that it is walking confidently and it's not falling down. By the way, it's not just me complaining about the low resolution of the video. Verzat says the potato quality makes it difficult to tell if this is Tesla bot or Biden walking around. Someone says it's clearly not Biden because the bot did not end up on the floor. So I just finished recording the whole video. I'm reviewing the video and then I see this new post from Tesla which happened minutes ago. I think it is very clear that there's no wire at all that's holding the robot. It is functioning without being held with a wire. And yeah, I don't see any extra markings on the floor other than what we already saw earlier. If you see anything, leave a comment down below. Oh yeah, it does seem to be following some sort of a path. You can see some markings on the floor, not just these X's, like this one right there. Oh, but it's not really stepping on it. Yeah, the robot definitely walks quite a bit better than before. Definitely improved. For sure improved. You can see other robots held by wires, but not this one. This one is walking pretty well. To me, this is fairly impressive. Should Tesla lower the price of FSD? The poll by Sawyer has just concluded. Over 20,000 people voted and 83% of the people voted yes. I personally want FSD 12 to come out first and then I want to try it and see how useful it actually is, and then after that I would tell my opinion. Because if it is much better and if progress starts to accelerate very fast, maybe we don't really need to reduce the price. But if it's just better but not, yeah, this is going to be so much better, then yeah, lowering the price I think is not a bad idea. Troy has lowered his delivery estimates for 2024 again. He's now at 2,020,000 deliveries for the year, and analyst consensus estimates also continue to come down. They are now at 2.1 million deliveries, down from about 2.2 on January 15th. Everyone is focused on these short-term numbers, but many are sort of, I'm talking about institutional investors and people that care about the next 12 to 18 months only. All of these people are ignoring Tesla's next generation vehicle. Going back to 2020, I think, or even 2019, it was obvious that the Model Y is going to be a huge success, and yet investors, some of them, the short-term traders, did not believe it until they actually saw it. And then this big run happened. So until Tesla actually releases and starts scaling the next generation vehicle, I think investors are not really going to take Tesla seriously about its plans to expand much further, which gives me a Tesla stock buying opportunity. We got some incredible FSD 12 footage. See how this line here just ends abruptly? FSD 11, I encountered a situation like that with my own vehicle, and it wasn't great. But here, it handled it no problem. Tesla's executive Rohan Patel even commented on this clip. The progress of FSD in the last few months has been astounding. I encourage everyone with a Tesla or looking to buy one in the US and Canada to give it a try. However, he points out that you will be forced to pay far closer attention while using FSD than you normally do while driving, with no level of automation and with many distractions, which doesn't make sense to me, but it is the reality given our driver monitoring systems and regulator requests. And the bottom line is that your family is far safer with FSD enabled than without it. Omar says Elon needs to be more like other auto CEOs. You could learn a lot from them. There's a chart here, and it says Tesla's $608 billion in market cap could buy the 9 largest car manufacturers with $15 billion left. Elon, of course, found it funny. I'm not sure though why they use 2020 numbers for the number of vehicles sold. Tesla's numbers would be a little bit higher, but not by a lot. The Tesla Economist agrees with James that free speech isn't at risk if the country is collapsing, and that Elon used publicity to get people's attention to Tesla. This publicity was more climate change related, to say the Earth. Now Elon uses his publicity to get more people using X. However, X publicity hurts Tesla. I'm not even sure how much Elon cares about anything he tweets. It's probably all for publicity. I think it's also important to point out that the Tesla economist Lee, he does not live in the West. He lives in Asia. At least that was true about a year ago. I think Jason has a pretty good point here. If we're not free to speak, our freedom vanishes in one generation. Our wealth will be taken from us by the government. It's already happening via inflation, but aggressive taxation is next, followed by confiscation. Game over. Confiscation of assets is already happening with political enemies. For example, Elon's compensation package has been taken away. I grew up in one of the Baltic states, and my country has been taken by Russians, the Soviets, and the Nazis. One of the first things that they do is they take away your ability to speak freely. And they also take the wealth of rich. For example, I have many friends that have their whole families sent to Siberia. Luckily, my family had no money at all, so there was no one to send to Siberia because there was no money that my family had. Like everything else, Elon is 5 to 10 years ahead of everyone in realizing this. That's why he's pushing so hard. By the time everyone else sees it, it will be too late to do anything. That's why we need more highly influential business leaders to join Elon in speaking up against censorship, woke mind virus, DEI, open borders, and government corruption. The people who tell them to be quiet are not thinking about the long-term consequences of their actions, and they're just thinking about how much money will I have in 12 months, not in 10 or 15 years. Remember that report that showed that Tesla sold something like 1 or 2 vehicles in South Korea earlier this year? Well, that's about to change because Tesla just imported 4,800 Model Ys to South Korea. The first deliveries begin in March, so if you were worried that demand has completely collapsed in South Korea for Tesla, worry no more. The multi-billionaire all-in Tesla stock investor Koguan Leo, who I believe lives in Singapore, says he agrees with Fred. He says Tesla has very serious governance problems, and it has had them for a long time. He thinks the board is still missing in action, and the one, Elon Musk, is a part-timer and is undermining Tesla to benefit his self-conflicted interests. He hopes that institutional S&P investors intervene and take material action now to remedy these governance problems. I am 100% convinced that if Tesla stock goes down substantially from here, we will start hearing from Leo every single day, just like we did about 14 months ago. Remember the issue with the Cybertruck cabs basically sort of wearing out the tires on the side to a point that it was becoming a problem? Tesla has now fixed the issue by releasing a new design, and you can see that this one is just basically a circle. There are no sharp edges anymore at the end. This is the old design. You can see that these stick out, and here's the new round design. I did like the old design a little bit better, but this I think is okay too, but I do like the old better. Gary Black is a Rivian investor, so he has something to say. Let's be clear, both Rivian and Tesla stock have been disasters for investors over the past year. Really? We're gonna choose 1 year for Tesla. Okay, it's basically flat. It's down 2.5%. And Rivian down 42% almost. But what makes it much worse is that it is down 92% since the IPO. No long-term investor with Rivian ever made money, any money. Although it hasn't been all that long since its IPO, but even if Rivian 10x's from here, it will still be down. Until this week, both Rivian and Tesla stock were doing equally bad, although Tesla has cost us far more in negative attribution than Rivian since we added Rivian to the portfolio last July. Now, I am not trying to make fun of anyone here, but if you were to pick the absolute worst time to become a Rivian investor last year, there was no worse month than July. The last day of July was the top for Rivian last year. However, I'm not exactly sure which day Gary Black bought Rivian stock in July. Gary seems to think that one reason why Rivian stock just went down quite a bit is because Elon added fuel to the fire by raising the specter of bankruptcy when, in our view, bankruptcy risks are very low. We agree odds are high that Rivian will again have to raise new capital in the next 2 years to launch its R2 line, but that's not the investment controversy. One major reason, though, why Rivian stock is down so much is because the analysts expected the deliveries to be much higher than what Rivian guided. Tesla has now announced that they installed 600,000 Powerwalls worldwide, and Elon congratulated the whole Tesla team on X by reposting this post to his main timeline, which will help with sales a little bit. In less than 3 years, the total number of Powerwalls installed tripled. And right now, Tesla should be installing roughly 12,500 Powerwalls per month. Jeff Bezos and Nvidia are now investing in this startup that's going to build human-like robots. The startup is Figure AI, which is also backed by OpenAI and Microsoft. That space is going to be incredibly large. So competition, of course, is expected. ARK Invest also invested a little bit of money, not much though. Looks like it's just $2.5 million. OpenAI is investing just $5 million in this round, which is $675 million. But Jeff Bezos has committed about $100 million and Microsoft is investing $95 million, while Nvidia and Amazon affiliated funds are each providing $50 million. What's going on here? Ford has halted shipments of all 2024, so not 2023, model year F-150 Lightnings over an undisclosed quality issue. The stop sale started 2 weeks ago, and Ford doesn't yet know when it will be lifted. Orzad says it's probably not getting lifted. Yeah, Rivian is not seeing more increasing demand. F-150 production just stops. This allows Tesla to focus on its Cybertruck while other companies are struggling. So that story about Ford was unreported for weeks, and yet the media covered this story. Tesla criticized for canceling a pie order worth thousands with San Jose bakery. The order was worth more than $2,000. Look at this thumbnail right here. It literally says, Tesla pie saga. Elon Musk wants to make amends with San Jose bakery. But yeah, this We only now find out after weeks. Hardware for Model Ys are now being delivered in China as well.
The Wall Street Journal's Dan Neal took the Cybertruck for a spin. He pushed Tesla's pickup truck to the ultimate limit in what he calls a 48-hour thrashing.
So, and when you're talking about rolling, one of the sort of subtle things about the Cybertruck is because the battery is in the bottom, it is very hard to tip over. So it has a side tip angle of something like 80 degrees. And chances are, if we had been in another conventional kind of let's say monster off-road pickup truck, let's call it, it probably would have rolled.
We're looking at a picture now of the truck, pitched to its left off the side of a dirt road. And you said you ran into the trees on the other side of that truck on the left-hand side and smashed up the side.
That's actually a little bit, it's in mid-recovery right there. We actually managed to move it up the hill a little bit, but it was very close. And of course, I thought it would be a very unfortunate headline if I should actually...
Columnist dies in advanced truck?
Yeah, I thought not
a great headline for you anyway. Might get some clicks.
If you do happen to be in a crash, and if it is a rollover, I would much rather be in a Tesla than in any other vehicle. So hopefully that never happens to anyone, but I'm just saying, if you're worried about that, being in a Tesla vehicle is your safest bet, most likely. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode. And the latest in the Pi saga is Elon Musk will take care of it. It will definitely be paid. People should always be able to count on Tesla trying its best, says Elon.